Some isekai heroes save worlds immediately, but these protagonists get rejected, betrayed, humiliated, or abandoned first, making their rise far more satisfying and unforgettable. Kicking off our list at number 10, Arifureta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Hajime Nagumo starts as an ordinary student transported into a fantasy world alongside his classmates. While everyone gains powerful combat abilities, Hajime receives a weak transmutation skill and becomes mocked constantly. After betrayal leaves him trapped inside a deadly abyss, survival transforms him completely. He builds overwhelming strength, forms dangerous alliances, and searches desperately for a path home. Arifureta thrives because Hajime's transformation feels brutal instead of inspirational. The series embraces darker survival themes, heavy action, explosive fights, and overpowered combat without hesitation. White Fox and Azred deliver flashy monster battles, while Hajime's cold personality shift separates him from generic heroic protagonists. It's edgy, chaotic, and consistently entertaining throughout every major confrontation. Moving down the rankings to number 9, The Rising of the Shield Hero. Naofumi Iwatani gets summoned alongside 3 other heroes to defend a kingdom from catastrophic monster waves. Unfortunately, he receives the shield, considered the weakest legendary weapon available. After false accusations destroy his reputation overnight, Naofumi becomes isolated and bitter. Forced into survival alone, he builds strength through unconventional methods while slowly learning to trust companions again eventually. Shield Hero succeeds because Naofumi's anger actually drives meaningful character growth instead of becoming shallow revenge bait. The emotional isolation feels believable, especially during earlier episodes. Kinema Citrus delivers fantastic creature designs, polished action sequences, and powerful emotional moments. Raphtalia's relationship with Naofumi adds warmth that balances the darker betrayal themes surprisingly well throughout. Charging into number 8, Failure Frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells. Tuka Momori and his classmates are summoned into another world by a cruel goddess demanding heroes. While everyone receives powerful rankings, Tuka gets labeled worthless because of his abnormal status effect abilities. Abandoned inside lethal ruins designed for execution, he discovers his supposedly weak powers are devastatingly effective. Tuka survives alone, growing stronger while plotting revenge against everyone responsible. Failure Frame stands out because its atmosphere feels far darker than most modern isekai stories. Tuka behaves calculatingly, fights ruthlessly, and rarely pretends morality matters anymore. 7 Arcs leans heavily into tense dungeon survival, psychological bitterness, and vicious combat. The revenge-driven pacing keeps every confrontation engaging, especially whenever Tuka completely overwhelms arrogant enemies without mercy. Breaking through at number 7, So I'm a Spider, So What? After a mysterious explosion destroys their classroom, an entire group of students reincarnates inside a fantasy world. One unlucky girl awakens as a tiny spider trapped within a deadly labyrinth filled with monsters. Completely alone and constantly hunted, she evolves through relentless battles, gaining bizarre abilities while uncovering massive secrets surrounding the world's history, magic systems, and wars. This anime survives entirely on Kumoko's personality, and thankfully, she's hilarious from beginning to end. Her non-stop internal monologues make even desperate survival scenes entertaining. Studio Milipensi mixes comedy, strategy, and escalating chaos surprisingly well. Beneath the humor, the series slowly reveals complicated lore that transforms the story into something much larger than viewers initially expect. Breaking into our top 6 at number 6, Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy. Makoto Misumi is summoned into another world expecting heroic glory, only for the goddess ruling that realm to reject him instantly because she finds him ugly. Banished into the wastelands, Makoto gains absurd magical strength and creates his own independent community. As conflicts between races and kingdoms intensify, he challenges the world's cruel hierarchy through overwhelming power and leadership. Tsukimichi works because Makoto remains calm, practical, and unintentionally terrifying throughout the series. The anime balances absurd comedy with genuinely impressive action scenes perfectly. C2C gives the fantasy world colorful visuals and energetic pacing, while the supporting cast constantly creates hilarious chaos around Makoto. Few overpowered protagonists feel this naturally entertaining without becoming repetitive quickly. Sliding into number 5, The Dungeon of Black Company. Kinji Ninomiya finally achieves financial freedom in modern Japan, only to get transported suddenly into a brutal fantasy world controlled entirely by exploitative mining corporations. Instead of becoming a legendary warrior, Kinji works exhausting labor shifts under terrible conditions. Using manipulation, greed, and outrageous schemes, he fights desperately against corporate oppression while attempting to reclaim comfort and status. This series feels refreshing because Kinji isn't heroic whatsoever. He's selfish, lazy, manipulative, and somehow still impossible to dislike completely. Silver Link combines workplace satire with fantasy absurdity brilliantly, creating non-stop comedic momentum. Beneath the humor, the anime surprisingly critiques toxic labor culture effectively, making Kinji's constant attempts escaping exploitation strangely satisfying to watch unfold repeatedly. Entering the battlefield at number 4, Grimgar, Ashes, and Illusions. A group of strangers awakens inside a fantasy world with no memories explaining how they arrived there. Unlike traditional Isekai adventures, these characters struggle constantly against weak monsters, hunger, fear, and emotional trauma. After losing their strongest member early, the remaining survivors must mature together slowly while accepting the brutal reality surrounding their fragile existence and uncertain futures. Grimgar stands apart because every fight feels dangerous and painfully realistic. Characters panic, hesitate, and mourn instead of charging confidently into battle. A1 Pictures delivers beautiful, watercolor-inspired backgrounds that strengthen the melancholic atmosphere wonderfully. The emotional storytelling, grounded pacing, and believable friendships create an experience far more intimate than most fantasy anime currently attempt achieving today. Storming into number 3, the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. The world's greatest assassin gets betrayed and murdered after completing his final mission successfully. Reincarnated by a goddess into a fantasy kingdom, he receives one objective: assassinate the future hero before catastrophic destruction occurs. Reborn as noble heir Lug Tuatha Dé, he combines modern assassination techniques with advanced magic while building alliances, businesses, and political influence carefully. What makes this anime memorable is how methodical every decision feels. Lug approaches missions strategically instead of relying purely on overwhelming power. Silver Link and Studio Palette deliver sharp animation, stylish combat choreography, and excellent world-building details. The balance between political maneuvering, emotional character moments, and calculated assassinations keeps the pacing consistently gripping across episodes. Racing toward the finale at number 2, Kemono Michi, Rise Up. Professional wrestler Genzo Shibata gets summoned into another world supposedly destined to defeat dangerous monsters threatening humanity. Instead, he immediately attacks the princess because he loves animals more than heroism. Rejected instantly, Genzo opens a pet shop while befriending monsters everyone else fears. His bizarre wrestling techniques and obsession with creatures create non-stop ridiculous adventures everywhere. Kemono Michi succeeds through pure comedic unpredictability. Genzo treats terrifying monsters like adorable pets, while everyone surrounding him questions reality constantly. Studio Enji embraces ridiculous slapstick humor, exaggerated reactions, and outrageous wrestling sequences enthusiastically. Unlike serious revenge-driven isekai stories, this anime feels completely unhinged in the best possible way from beginning until the final episode. And finally, reigning supreme at number 1, Now and Then, Here and There. Shu Matsutani lives an ordinary life until encountering a mysterious girl named Lala Ru beside towering smokestacks one evening. After defending her from attackers, Shu gets transported into a horrifying world devastated by war, slavery, and scarcity. Completely powerless compared to soldiers surrounding him, Shu struggles desperately to protect his humanity while witnessing unimaginable suffering everywhere constantly. Few isekai anime feel this emotionally devastating or brutally honest. Instead of power fantasies, the series explores trauma, child soldiers, desperation, and survival realistically. AIC delivers haunting atmosphere through grounded storytelling and disturbing imagery that remains unforgettable years later. Shu's refusal surrendering his compassion transforms this heartbreaking journey into one of anime's strongest anti-escapist narratives. These isekai stories prove rejected protagonists usually become the most compelling characters imaginable. From brutal revenge journeys to emotional survival dramas, every anime here approaches isolation differently. Some heroes embraced darkness completely, while others protected their humanity despite overwhelming suffering. Drop your personal favorites below, especially underrated Outcast protagonists deserving significantly more recognition worldwide.